During one of my first play sessions of The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, I noticed a nasty rainstorm approaching. I was in the middle of nowhere until I spotted a tree and quickly rushed towards it with little thought. I didn't want to wait for the rain to pass away, so the ideal solution was to light a bonfire. Given that Breath of the Wild is well known for its breadth of systems, I experimented, placing a stack of wood in the ground, placing a piece of flint close to it, and smack it with a metal weapon. To my surprise, the flint sparked and created a said bonfire. Now I could skip forward the time to a cleaner weather condition. Another moment was during Metal Gear Solid 5, The Phantom Pain. I'm tasked to battle quiet on an extensive field full of monument and debris scattered around. I've decided to take a different approach other than using guns, so I thought of the most unthinkable move. Drop a supply box in her head and see if this logic worked like in the cartoon shows. Lo and behold, the box knocks her out, and I'm given the mission task complete alert. If you notice the thread so far, both these games allowed me to do something they never taught me, or even told me it was possible to do. My curiosity drove me, and it led to those unimaginable results. Moments like these are achievable thanks to a design principle both these games embody, which is known as player agency. For those unaware, player agency is giving the players a choice through action and tools, and the ability to have an impact in the game world, either through game mechanics or key story decisions. This applies to almost every genre, from the basic choice of which cars to drive in the opening mission of Grand Theft Auto 5 to more complex scenarios, such as having every Metal Gear Solid 5 player disarm their nuclear bombs in conjunction to trigger full nuclear disarmament and unlock a secret cutscene. It's few of the moments we notice this action at play, since games do a seamless blend really well, and it speaks highly of how complex game development can often be when the rules that support said agency are not well defined. This doesn't mean it's a simple task, however, and many games still struggle to have both player agency and intentions work in full tandem. For example, The Last of Us Part 2, a game that heavily intended its players to feel remorse or disgust when killing enemies, cannot achieve that desire because of its game mechanics that promote aggressive tactics and split-second decisions, and the player agency that triggers the satisfaction of engaging with the multiple mechanics and systems to create that perfect John Wick moment. Or Red Dead Redemption 2, which prides itself in its attention to detail and realistic simulation of various world elements, but it commits to it so much that it struggles to make the moment-to-moment gameplay enjoyable, and it affects the player agency greatly thanks to its super constrictive mission design and minor inconveniences. Jumping back to the Metal Gear 5 and the Breath of the Wild examples above, it's clearly visible that the player agency plays a big part in both of the game's design philosophies and how crucial they are for the player's experience. But what if I told you that player agency only played a part of a much bigger picture? One aspect of both games differ from the aforementioned examples above is the inclusion of emergent gameplay. Emergent gameplay refers to game mechanics that the player uses to create new strategies and scenarios unforeseen by the developers. For example, a game presents you with a tool, and it informs you that you can do 4 basic actions with it, but because of your curiosity, you find out that you can do 2 more actions with said tools, in the most unconventional way possible. That counts as emergent gameplay. They've slowly been growing, from choose-your-own-path adventure games back in the 90s to RPGs implementing it, so player actions could affect the story's course. For example, choosing to save or not an NPC, which unlocks one set of abilities, but locks the other one throughout the entire game, such as the Infamous games, to the new set of emergent rules defined by puzzle games, where the puzzle might have a limited amount of solutions, but player expression produces custom solutions for said puzzles. The Hitman series is a perfect example of this formula. The Hitman games have always placed a big emphasis on experimentation, and to achieve this, the game gives the player a huge sandbox, a fixed amount of tools, environmental props to interact with, and a robust AI system that tightly adapts to any disturbances occurring. In each map, you're given the goal of eliminating a fixed amount of targets, and the cool aspect of it is that it never tells you how to do them. The end result is a constant pull and push gameplay loop, where you're constantly exploring new ways of eliminating your foes in unimaginable ways, from poisoning one's drink to literally throwing a suitcase at their face to knock them out. It's a game designed to let us go wild. Another prominent example is Watch Dogs 2. Although polarizing for fans of the first game, one area the game incredibly improves is in its gameplay department, specifically an increase in interactions and options available. Stuff like hacking the car to drive in a specific direction, using your drone and camera to reach impossible places, completing tasks that take less effort thanks to the player's curiosity, or the simple choice of gunning everyone down or using your hacking abilities to its fullest by completing a level without ever stepping foot in it. It perfectly gives us a myriad of tools, and it's up to us to use them in any way we see fit. One more powerful example, and I feel this is the best way emergent gameplay has been adapted into a game yet, is The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. When we often look at Breath of the Wild, it's easy to say, oh wow, it's super impressive that the devs thought of this detail, when in fact, the dev team itself never imagined these specific details could happen, and this is all thanks to what the team dubs the chemistry engine. They base this engine on three principles. Elements can change the state of materials, elements can change each other's states, and materials cannot influence each other's state. For example, fire, an element, can set the tree material on fire, but a tree can change the state of another tree. However, water, element, can put out the fire. This engine, alongside the physics engine, powers the game's eureka moments, like fanning a giant leaf at a boat to move it, throwing a sword towards an enemy's group during a rainstorm, thus attracting a lightning bolt in the area because of the sword's material, invading an enemy's camp by riding a boulder carrying forward its accumulated momentum, climbing a mountain but taking into consideration the weather condition or the limited stamina bar. It's a well thought out system that embraces unpredictability and encourages players to try different tactics when approaching different situations, and rewarding them by executing the outcome not thought possible. These examples sound amazing, but we need to remember that emergence means unpredictable, meaning that many games can often crash, softlock, or outright remove a challenge the game presents, making this design philosophy often difficult and convoluted to work with. In my opinion, game design and player agency in particular currently sit in a weird paradigm in which the current AAA industry places a larger emphasis on storytelling. With an increase in budget and technical aspects, games forgo the path of bigger and massive cinematic experiences, which, although not a bad thing, it undermines what makes games unique, which, alongside interactivity, it's intertwining between game mechanics and contextual story aspects. Accessibility has become a larger topic, and I wholeheartedly agree that everyone should experience a game how they want to, but I also think we shouldn't sacrifice player option for such. From AAA games like the recent 2018's God of War, that immaculately and strongly embraces a new approach to presentation, but falls short in a few key gameplay design choices to my taste, Marvel's Spider-Man and Miles Morales, which finally gives both our heroes the proper gameplay representation they deserve, but its open world template leaves a lot to be desired, and in the end embraces the Ubisoft open world formula, to smaller and independent games that afford to take risks by going bolder and innovative, such as A Way Out and It Takes Two, with its co-op only structure, Celeste and its approach to both storytelling and challenging gameplay while also offering assist options, and Killer 7, an out of left field masterclass in presentation, storytelling, and game design. With a new generation upon us, both console manufacturers promising faster and seamless experiences, and new independent teams in the scene that often follow their uncommon and unconventional ideas, there's hope to see new experiences that not only embraces storytelling and gameplay as main pillars, but also elevate them to new heights often thought impossible. Hi, thanks for watching the video. Before I leave, I would just like to leave a quick update on what I'm currently busy with. So I'm currently busy with university, so this might take a while, but I'm currently working on Kingdom Hearts review, the first Kingdom Hearts. This was my first time playing the game, and I just beat it a few days ago, and I actually had fun with it. It was actually a pretty amazing experience, so much so that I really want to delve deep on how the game is structured, and its story, and its game design, and how Square managed to do all of that back in the 2000s. So please look forward to that, and you already know the shenanigans. Like the video if you liked it, subscribe if you want to see more, share it with your friends who might think this might be an interesting topic for them. Follow me on social media, Twitter, Instagram, and Twitch, and I hope to see you next time. So see ya.